Hey, everybody. Welcome back, my beautiful souls, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful souls. Thank you, Old School, for coming in. I appreciate you so much. Hi there, and welcome back to another video under Correct Wide Open. This is where we break consciousness wide open. Hello. Today, I'm going to discuss the steps of a spiritual awakening and explain and share a bit of my own experience through this hero's journey. First, I want to say, while I allow people to come in, is the present moment holds the key to salvation and liberation. You won't and you cannot find present moment while you are in the mind. Excuse me. Thinking and consciousness are not synonymous. So that's just, I want you to keep that at the forefront because that's only a small aspect of consciousness. Thought can exist without consciousness, yet consciousness does not need thought. So enlightenment to me means a few things. So I'm going to go ahead and clear some space here, and I'm going to share a little bit with you guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Please share the content. You never know who's looking. I don't know why I'm so hoarse. I've had some experiences, and I haven't been online for about a week or more, and at least a month on my channel. So you're going to have to forgive a girl for that. I am going through the hero's journey, and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's difficult. So let's go ahead and call in consciousness, shall we? Deep breath if you're with me. One more. It feels so good every single time I bring in my singing bowl or my chimes or my crystals or anything. They vibrate on the same level that I do, and it's quite beautiful. So again, welcome everybody to my channel. My name is Cheryl. Most people know me by Star or Star Delta. You can call me any of those things. Just don't call me late for dinner. So let's say I've explained to you that the only way you can find liberation and salvation is in the present moment. You're not going to find it in the thinking mind. So I'm going to share a little bit with you about my awakening and some of the stages and processes that I've been going through, and why sometimes I'm kind of missing in action in hermit mode, and other times I'm out just frolicking around like I don't have a care in the world. Hello, Pat. Namaste, darling. So today I'm going to discuss the steps of the awakening and explain and share a bit of my own experience through this hero's journey with you. Please keep in mind, these are my experiences personally. They're going to differ from person to person because each person's hero journey is theirs and it is personal. Each person has a experience is going to be different than mine. The same steps or stages pretty much will occur during a spiritual awakening, yet their experiences may be very similar or very different. It could be very spontaneous, or they could be tossed in the kingdom of heaven as I was. So keep in mind, these are my opinions and what I'm experiencing to share with you. Most of the content that I find out there right now are, how can I find an awakening? What do I need to do to proceed to be awakened? What are the steps I need to do? The awakening process, the enlightenment is a process. It's a process, okay? And it is something that you experience and go through. You don't seek it. If you seek it, it's not coming. That's the law of the universe. I'll speak of that on another video, but we'll stay at this video for now. So you will awaken. The first step is I awoken. I awoken to the illusion of thought. I realized that I was not my thought. I realized I was not this physical form, this body, and I wasn't even my emotions. The ego lost its grip on me, and it's a natural process. However, it can occur very spontaneously, as I stated, or it can occur very abruptly, like mine did, or Eckhart Tolle's did. I think Michael Sanger's was very spontaneous and occurred in his living room. So, again, each person's journey is going to be a tad different, yet the stages will be pretty much similar. And with that being said, it can also occur like mine did. I was tossed into the kingdom of heaven all at one time. And here is where I disassociated with thought, the mind, the voice in the head, the little entity that spoke to me all the time. It was gone. It just lost its grip on me. Let me explain some of these steps and how that occurs and how it can rear its head in some things. And I appreciate you so much for being here and sharing this with me and allowing me to share my experience with you. So I experienced this awakening on all levels of my being. I woke up. You wake up, and when you do it, it was chaos. In my case, chaos and profound confusion. I was unclear what was happening to me, and on all senses, right? All sense of myself was gone. Uh, the nurse I was, the mother I was, the wife I was, the friend I was, the everything I was that I had an attachment to, that I identified with, fell away. And it was chaos. And it was chaos beyond anything I could explain. There was no rhyme or reason for it. And for me, it began with the chaos occurring. It happened while I slept, right? I was experiencing tremendous amount of discord in my 28-year marriage for what seemed to be no reason. And after 16 months of some serious suffering, right? For me, that chaos was on the external, right? And I went to bed one night and it happened while I slept. And it was automatic, right? I slept and I woke up this way. And it was quite odd. And it happened to me during my sleep. So it was like cosmic, right? Because we sleep about 6-8 hours. It can happen while you're awake. It can happen while you're sitting in your living room. It can happen while you're driving. It doesn't have to happen in your sleep. It can happen in a gamut of different ways, and it can be spontaneous, and it can be beautiful and easy and bliss, or it can be hard and painful and gut-wrenching. It's all up to the person, to the journey, to the hero who's taking the journey, right? Because here my ego began to lose its grip on me. It began falling away. And for me, it began, like I said, with chaos occurring in my relationship of 28 years, just absolutely falling apart without reason. The outside circumstances occurring in my home appeared like a light bulb moment too, right? And so when I woke up that morning, I woke up and I did not know who I was. Now, this first step is the awakening. You wake up, right? And the range can be from 1 day to months. And mine was 3 months. I stayed in this stage 1 for about 3 months. The chaos consumed me, right? I moved out of my home. I sold my home, filed for divorce after a 29-year marriage, moved out, got my own place, got my own job. And through this chaos, it was so weird. There was this peace beyond all understanding, and it was emanating from the inside of me, and it was love, it was joy, and it was bliss, and I couldn't understand it. It was a peace beyond all understanding, right? These energetic pathways began to open up, and I began to disassociate with thought, with present. There was zero voice in the head. There was no little entity in there speaking to me anymore. It was gone. And I know now where I'm at because I'm 3 years, 1 month, and 5 days in, that I know a whole lot that I didn't know then. And so that's why I say it's a process. So when you have this first stage, you're going to be confused. There's going to be chaos. You're not going to know who you are. It's going to freak you out. It may even scare you. You might take yourself to the ER. You might go to the counselor. You might do all the things that I did. Okay. Know that if you have this experience happen to you and you're experiencing stage 1, surrender, because there's nothing you can do except surrender, right? Stage 2. Stage 1 for me lasted 3 months. And within 3 months, by the 4th month, I wasn't in this place yet, but my home was sold and I had filed for divorce. Big changes were made, right, within the first 3 months. And so when stage 2 hit me, stage 2 is bliss. It's called bliss. And this is an awesome stage, after all the disruptive chaos that occurred in stage 1. This was a very welcome stage for me. I was high on life. I was blissful. I loved everything. I was peace and joy, and it came from the inside of me, not the outside. I felt more energy pathways opening up, and I had this cinnamon bun feeling in my heart that I spoke of before, that somebody just popped in my chest right out of the oven, right? And it was just soothing me and rocking me back and forth in unconditional love. I felt emotions for what I say the first time, and I made a statement: I can breathe. I can breathe. It's like my shoulders dropped 10 inches and I could breathe. So you can understand my concern when the bliss stage stopped, because it's stage 2 and it does stop. And I wanted it so badly to stay because my heart was opening up, right? And I was being guided. I was being guided to do spiritual work. I was being guided to do meditation. I was guided to do things on a spiritual realm that I had never done before. I can see the matrix and the quantum field with the naked eye. Now I know what it is, but then I didn't. I felt love and bliss and joy. And it was in this stage where oneness with Creator, with Source, with God, opened up this portal, this huge portal of intuition and my love in my heart. And here was an awesome, it was because I saw all these gifts that Creator bestowed upon me. The gift of Reiki, the gift of these psychic abilities and the shamanism, and being able to travel from the unconscious to the conscious and share with the collective for the greater good of us all in consciousness. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. And spirit communicates through symbolism to me. Clairvoyance came on board. Strong healing modalities came on board. And I just knew I was the cognizant. I didn't need anyone to tell me. I didn't need anyone to tell me where this love and joy and unconditional peace was coming from, because it was emanating from my heart. It was God. It was consciousness. It was Source, whatever you identify with, right? And I could feel this deep connection of divine source and the world and others. I could look at them and I could feel them. I could feel their energy. And I was listening to the guidance and I was given through this process. And I just rolled with it, right? And the side effects were so beautiful and so bliss and so unconditionally loving, right? Well, it lasted 3 months. That blissfulness, right? Lasted 3 months. Some will say, did it come back? Where'd it go? What happened? I'm going to get to that because that's what I said. I said, where the fuck to go? What happened? Well, I went into stage 3. Well, stage 3 lasted quite a long time for me. Quite a long time for me. The stage I went through was the conscious dark night. Some will consider it the dark night of the soul, and they'll refer to it as that. And this is where the purging begins to occur. Two things I want to point out here to you as a FYI. Once this process begins, it's irreversible. You can't stop it. 2, you just gonna have to roll with it and surrender. It's like wax on, wax off, up and down, ebb and flow like the waves, right? And there'll be up times and then there'll be down times, right, during these stages. So during this stage, I call it the conscious dark night. The soul brought up things that were painful, things that were so gut-wrenching painful to be released. On some days it was, I would say, easier than other days, but the soul kept bringing up events of the past, of trauma, of hurts, of wrongs, of a lifetime of pain and suffering and karma. And I felt it in every cell in my body. And and I could feel the collective pain body and ancestral pain body from lifetimes of garbage just fucking came up to be transcended and transmuted up and off me. I even made comments like, where is that emotion coming from? Why am I feeling that? Where is that coming from, right? I've never done anything to make me feel that. Well, we not only have a physical form body of our own, you were born into a collective body, right? And that collective body has a pain body, and you pick up energies through it. And so some of the ancestral leakage was my family karma, right? Ancestral karma from a lifetime of things that I didn't know, yet I was an ancestral of. And so they came up to be transmuted and transcended up and off of me so that I can change the ancestral heritage of my lineage, my family. I can change the way things were, right? That aren't true, that were pseudo, that were wrong, that were limited belief systems, right? Now I can stop that in its tracks and create new lineage of unconscious love, peace, and joy for my grandchildren, for my son, for the sentinel beings I teach, for you, for everyone, consciousness, and me. This phase of the dark night of the soul has been very difficult for me, and that's why I'm sometimes missing and sometimes not. It can last months or years. I know you don't want to hear that. Mine was about a year and a half. About a year and a half. I rested a lot. The key here is to surrender to whatever you feel, regardless of whether you think it's yours or not. If it's anger, anxiety, or angst, or fear, you can feel it. Just don't engage it, and it'll pass and it'll fall off you like magic. Let go, because it doesn't serve you to hang on to it, and resistance will only prolong this stage. How do I know that? I was tethered to a fire hydrant, probably 35 miles away from me, padlocked and chained to it with resistance and stubbornness and bullheadedness. Because I was raised stubborn. That's from my father. And it wasn't until I surrendered to the fact that I have to surrender to these traumas, to these past events, to these wrongs, to this lifetime of pain, suffering, and karma. Some of it I did myself, and a lot of it had nothing to do with, but I was a lineage of it. And therefore, I guess I'm the one from my lineage that's going to wake up and change it first. Others will follow. I'm not unique. I'm not special. I'm just the light of God, as you are, as everyone is. Everyone is the same oneness, right? So this will last you years, could, months. Mine was a year and a half. The key is just your soul is been programmed to trigger this event to happen to you. That is very key that you remember that the soul, your higher being, your higher self, triggers an awakening or a shift or an enlightenment in consciousness. I got a question about a trigger, and it's a perfect segue into this dark night of the soul. A trigger is an emotional flashback, and it's coming up to call us back to something unresolved. The key is to tap into the emotions in the body, right? In the body, in this stage, and to surrender as best you can. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly because I know if someone told me that, I'd probably want to get up and choke them, because the pain for me was gut-wrenching. And I don't want to get into that because that's irrelevant, right? It only was due to my resistance to change. My resistance to change, right? Not that I can't, it was that I won't. And God said, no, you are, and I'm going to drag you if you don't. And so there's no turning back. You can't flip off the switch, because the awakening, the number one, the first stage, is like a light bulb moment, like someone turned a light switch on and you wake up and you're like, what the fuck, right? At this point in the dark night of the soul, I realized I couldn't go back. And I knew from some of the readings that I had done in the past that I can't even tell you whose book it was, but I know it was like 2010 and 2012, and it talked about this being irreversible. And when I read the book I think it might have been Eckhart Tolle. When I read that book, I did not know anything about what was happening or what was being spoken of in that book. Sat on my bookshelf, and I don't know, maybe I filed the information away, because our brain is like a computer, right? And old tapes, we're running on old tapes and old programs, right? And I've spoke of this in other videos, the Judy Jetson. So I remember in stage 3, in the dark night of the soul, or the conscious night, dark night, I remember feeling tired, tethered, beaten, 30 miles away, padlocked to a fucking fire hydrant and hanging on for dear life, right? And they couldn't figure out what's happening still at this point. When you go through it, you're still do not understand that what you're doing is going through a disentanglement of old belief systems and limiting thought patterns you were taught that are pseudo and false. I know that now, but during the dark night, I didn't. So to heal during the dark night, or to get through it, you have to experience the opposite. If you experience anger or fear, you have to experience trust and love. You have to experience the opposite, right? And fear is false evidence appearing real, but to our monkey mind and our limiting thought patterns and our belief systems, they don't fall away easily. We're habitual, and we train ourselves to behave a certain way to get something out of our life that we want, right? And memories are stored and they're fragmented. And to heal, you have to tap into the emotions again here and to allow the feeling to come up, no matter what it is or what it says to you, to sit with it and to not engage it, and don't, just assist it by accepting what it is. Because I've explained thoughts are fleeting like the wind outside your door. Consciousness gives rise to thought, and you'll be shown if you let consciousness show you, right? But we want, at this point in the dark night of the soul, the ego has lost all its grip on you. It knows it cannot survive in consciousness, therefore it gets on board, and it knows that in order for its survival, it has to cooperate and on its part. And it does. And consciousness busts right through any bullshit that's coming up. So if you allow the thought or the emotion to come up, it's like the wind. It'll come, don't engage it, and it'll go, right? Because consciousness will bust right through that. It falls away like the pain and the trauma and the hurts. I couldn't understand. Why is it I don't feel the pain in my mental processes and my psychological processes or my heart anymore about a person I spent 29 years with? It's not that at all. I spent 29 years mirroring myself off another sentinel being to teach myself about myself, and I learned, and he hasn't yet, and he's still slumbering. It's not a blame game, and I don't look at it as if it is. And it falls away, and the pain and the trauma and the hurts and the feelings and the things I experienced, they just fell off me like magic. And I didn't know at this point that these stages were temporary. No, please no, they're temporary and they won't last. Mantras really helped me during the dark night of the soul, saying, I am brave, I am strong, I am love. I am brave, I am strong, I am love. I'm sorry if I cry. I want to do these so you guys can see the validity and my authenticity and my truth. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I always have, and I'm a huge empath. Huge. So mantras and self-love was key for me here. It's hard to love ourselves, isn't it? We stop taking baths. We stop listening to music that we liked. We stop taking walks. We stop doing the things that we got pleasure out of. So it's hard to love ourselves again. I know this because I'm doing it. And so I'm not saying any of this is easy. And you're going to feel like in this stage that you're dying. And I even said I'm dying. And you do the old You dies and it falls away. And that's why you don't know who you are during the awakening. And now you're in limbo between who you were and who you're going to be. And you're disentangling yourself from false limiting belief systems and false pseudo shit that you learned. And during the dark night of the soul, all I could do was go deeper inside. That's all I could do was dive deeper inward here to work with I worked with the chakras, right? I mean, I'm a nurse and I've been in the medical field as a respiratory therapist and a nurse for almost 40 years. And no one ever told me about chakras and energy systems in school. And I have 2 degrees and I have 7 years of college and not one fucking person told me about them. So doctors don't know, nurses don't know, some may, but that has to change. And if I have anything to do with it, it's going to. So in this dark night of the soul, excuse me, I went a little off topic. I'm sorry. It kind of sticks a little in my craw because I'm a nurse. And I think we should have been taught this. At this point, I went deeper inward here and I worked with the chakras and especially the first lower 3. Because that's where our sovereignty and our safety and our well-being is the first 3, right? Old thoughts and tapes that we played or that we play, they fell away. And you no longer perceive things through an old lens. Your past conditioning falls away. You're not attached to anything anymore. You disentangle yourself from everything and everyone that you knew or thought you knew that was an attachment to you. Old belief systems, behaviors, patterns. You become here in this stage that the universe is alive and that you are consciousness and the light of God. And you sit with the holy fucking grail in your hands. Oh. I'm sorry. You begin to awaken more. You begin to dive deeper into the deeper I. This stage, I think, can be very easy or it can be a really difficult one. And for me, it's been a really difficult one, as you can tell. And one must decide for themselves here, right? Right. Because I know in the dark night of the soul, many sentinel beings are going to want to claw themselves out of this and bolt, because I know I did. And it's profoundly bliss at the same time. You know your consciousness, you know your God. You know you're the light of the world. So my dark night lasted me 1.5 years. False illusions, psychosis, man. The Judy Jetsons, the ego, right? That was running me on autoplay on the computer in my mind, on old tapes. I never changed the tapes. I never took them out and questioned them if they had viruses or not. And that's how I look at it. This is a computer. The seed is the mind for the body. Is the body is for the body, right? So in the dark night of the soul, you have to decide for yourself. Am I gonna bolt? Now I know why it only happens to 1%. Because in this, if you have an experience like mine, hand to God, I said, take me or fucking break me. One of the two. Because I can't take anymore. And I meant it. And I was on my kitchen floor at 3 a.m. in my underwear, begging him. So it's hard yet profoundly. I could feel the love of him inside me and the peace and the joy. And he was rocking me. That's why it's bliss. And you can't, it's beyond any understanding you have. You won't understand where the peace is coming from. It's this that doesn't want to reprogram, right? It's the behaviors that you are disentangling yourself with. That's what's painful. So this stage can last you. This stage can last you for months or as long as you resist. And I know for me, I was one resistant person, stubborn as they come. You couldn't have got the bull out of the barn if you tried, right? And so it was a year and a half for me. And I still have periods of residual that come up from my psychological or my pain body, right? From maybe a past event, and it's very short-lived, and it comes up and it expresses itself, the emotion, whatever it is, the tears, the fear, the pain, the anger, and it only lasts a very short time, and then it's gone. And so I've learned through working with the energies and going through this how it goes. And you can facilitate a very smooth transition for yourself, right? You can. And that's why I'm doing these videos. And now I got into the void, stage 4. Oh my God. I said, this is where I've been. You're welcome. This is where I've been dropped off on a deserted island. And God and consciousness has slammed the goddamn door on me. I'm in no man's land, and I was lost, and I was confused, and I was anxious. I couldn't understand it. I was experiencing synchronicities, seeing auras, seeing colors. Spirits were speaking to me. I could see with the naked eye, the matrix, the energy. I could move. And it's like she went whoop, and closed the door on me. I'm like, what's happening, right? And through this phase, I've learned that rest is the key here in this phase, because after the dark night of the soul, oh boy, have you been through it, right? And you've been working really hard, and healing isn't easy. And that's why I know during the dark night of the soul, people don't want to bolt, because it's not easy. And when I thought that my connection to source was cut off, I wanted to climb myself out of this too. I'm like, where the fuck are you? I want to climb myself out of this, because now you've shut all the goddamn doors to me, right? I learned that it's a respite. It's a rest phase. It's where I isolated and dropped out of society and became a hermit. And now I went into a cocoon, like the caterpillar going into the chrysalis, the cocoon to emerge as a butterfly. I want to say that these steps can happen stacked, 1, 2, 3 on top of one another or separately. They're very rapid as much as you can tolerate. I'm going to say, if you're open to the energy and you can accept it, spirit won't give you more than you can handle. And apparently I'm a fucking tank. And I know I am because of the 40-year trauma nursing I did. Not because I wanted to be, but because I had to be for families and patients and people, right? So I'm still in this crystalline. I think I'm still emerging as this butterfly, and I feel a deep inner peace beyond all understanding. I feel extremely exhausted, and the only thing I can contribute or compare it to, and maybe you saw it or not, I don't know, the movie The Fly, where he turns into the fly, the things that he went through. I'm going through a metamorphosis similar to that, and it's happening from the inside out. And so I realize in the void that I can't rush the process here, and it's best for me just to let go and climb into the cocoon and allow the process to occur, right? And so that's what I did. And so there'll be periods where I'll go 4 or 5 weeks and I'm hermiting and I'm in a little cocoon and I'm becoming this beautiful butterfly. And so this morning I came to some profound realizations, and the next thing I know, I'm guided to give you guys these steps and speak to you from my heart. And so here I am, tears and all. So here I am, right? And I'm between these realms. I'm between this realm of my old self that's dead and this new self that's not emerged yet. Maybe she's emerging. Maybe she's gaining her wings, right? Maybe. So I meditate to soothe myself as best I can. I do yoga, and music is really helpful for me. I still don't know who I am yet. The last year and month and 5 days have been a journey. Oh, thank you, God. I want you to know, because everything that's out there, everything I see that's out there is how to have an awakening, not what's happening to you when you're experiencing it. And that's why I want to share this part with you guys, right? It's not personal. Everyone will succumb to consciousness in the end. Why not do it now? Right? You're going to have to succumb to it in the end. Everyone, the call's universal, right? And spirit brought the call to me, and I took the call. And now I know what Eckhart was speaking about when he said it only happens to 1%, because this is not a easy journey. And I'm being shown that I'm a shaman of some sort. I don't know what that means. but I just see it, right? She shows me. So I meditate and I soothe myself while I'm cocooning, because I'm still cocooning. And this last year and month and 5 days, I feel like the stages are stacking, right? Like I'll feel one and then I'll go back and feel a little bit of another one, and then I'll move forward. And that's why I say it's like the ocean, the waves coming in and out, or wax on, wax off, right? It's an ebb and flow. And so you have to learn to go with it. And it's for me, it's been easy in on some days, and so fucking hard on the other days, right? And I experience them kind of melding together. But everyone's journey is going to be personal to them and their divine self, right? Months or years this stage can last, the void. Can you believe that? Months or years. Months or years. It can happen faster. As I said, the universe is clearing and healing at a quantum speed, and these stages are stacking, and spirit's cleansing the universe and going through an awakening of her own. And so these things are happening to her too, and time has sped up, because time is an illusion. There is no time. You're being shown the signs. If you're here, you're already awakening. You're already experiencing that, darling. If you're listening to me, your higher self has brought you to listen, and you're going to take in the information. And when you're ready, you will experience enlightenment or an awakening, and this information will be valuable to you. Valuable. If I had this information, shit. Fuck. If I had this information, I would be further along, I think. So I'm using yoga and music, and it's really helpful for me. I don't know who Spirit's asking me to be yet, except a healer, a teacher, a shaman, a writer. But I'm a student, right? Just like you. I'm a student and a teacher, and someone's going to teach me something more, and I'm going to teach someone else, and they're going to teach someone else. So we're all students and we're all teachers, right? No one's better than the other. I've used that in so many examples. Teaching nurses, they would say, I'm just this, I'm just a student. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're a nurse. You're part of the team, and you're essential, right? And so I just want to say that in this stage, if you're in the void, if you experience the void, crawl into the cocoon. Nurture and soothe yourself as best you can. At this point, you probably won't let many people near you, because you'll fear them hurting you or doing something to you, because you're letting go of trust issues, right, that you experienced. So you don't trust anyone at this point except consciousness, right? And so I learned that last year, is that, trust is a big thing, and I'm trusting consciousness, and consciousness is trusting me to share this information. And so that brings me bliss and brings me love. And so here I want to say again, it can be stages or stacked, and you may experience it together, and everyone's journey is going to be personal to them and their divine self, right? This stage can happen for months or years. I pray to God it's not years. It can happen faster, as I said, The universe is cleansing and clearing itself as well. The key is that not all people experience it in this order, right? Some may experience stage 3 or stage 2 and not even know they're awakened yet. They'll have missed it because consciousness is so subtle, right? They'll know something's off, but they won't know what it is. And they'll say it's something odd or something that's not, they'll brush it off as not as a synchronicity, right? They won't say it's a synchronicity. They'll say it's a non-event. Like deja vu, when you walk in somewhere and you go, oh God, I've been here. And you brush it off. You've been there. You've been there in a past life. How did you know? Because memories are fragmented and they're stored, right? So the key is that not all people are going to experience it in the same order or the same symptoms. And so keep that in mind and know that not all experiences are the same, but the stages will be similar and they should follow suit, right? And some it will be harder than others, and not so much. Surrender is really, again, the key. And I think I'm between like 4, 5, and 6. That's why I say this, that they're stacking, because I'm grounded, right? I'm grounded in consciousness, which is stage 5. And here I ground myself like a tree. And I think about fractals. I don't know if you're familiar with fractals, right? But if you think of branches and the root system of a tree and how deeply it embeds itself in Mother Earth, right? And then you see the one trunk that goes completely up, and then you see all these fractals of beautiful branches that are going off into all different directions. That's considered a fractal, right? Our respiratory system is a fractal. If you look at our lungs, the larger bronchioles break down to the smaller bronchioles, to the alveoli, and to the alveoli sacs. Our circular system, and even our brain is fractal, with the folds that it has in it. Fractal, right? And fractals are, I don't know if you're aware of them. Fractals seek balance between chaos and order. And at this stage, the chaos is stopped. And I'm beginning to restore order in my life. And I know that I am the golden ratio. These fractals are mathematics of the universe, and it's based in source creation, God trying to experience itself through our physical form, right? We facilitate source's awareness through our physical form. Creator wants us to manifest something. So Creator, I think, has a subconscious and just didn't know it. Otherwise, why would we experience suffering? Right? So we facilitate the knowing of Creator through our form, and Source experiences it right along with me. So if I create something, Source experiences it with me, right? And so I think that's a beautiful thing. We facilitate Source's awareness. And how do we do that? We do it through our body. We think a thought that comes to us that's fleeting, and it creates an idea. And we have an idea, and that idea creates a beautiful emotion in your body. As soon as you feel that emotion, you're off and running. It's not a thought, it's not a feeling. And we facilitate Source's awareness through this physical form. And that's why I think Creator has a subconscious. Otherwise, I didn't know it so. It doesn't know it so. We don't know ourselves. How come we don't know ourselves? Because Creator didn't know Himself. Otherwise, why would it be in existence? So we facilitate the knowing for Creator through our form, and Source gets to experience that right along with us. I think that's a fucking beautiful thing. This stage can last months or years, the void. I'm not going to say I'm out of the void yet, because I don't think I am, because I feel a deeper sense of peace. But I'm very tired and I'm exhausted, and my body has been through a tremendous amount of purging, and a tremendous amount of healing has occurred at this point. I mean, the mind, the voice, the commentary, the past, the future, all pseudo, false, have fallen away, illusions, psychotic, right? You observe it and it all falls away, and between it there's a space. There's this space, and this space is still. It's stillness. It's consciousness. I ground myself in consciousness. You cannot be grounded unless you're awakened in consciousness. You can go outside and earth yourself. So if you go outside, stand tall like a tree, burrow yourself deep down in Mother Earth like I do. Imagine your feet burrowing down as roots and fractaling down into Mother Earth, and you're intertwining with Gaia. In these stages 2 and 4, I felt like I was being, how do I say that? Pulled, like someone was yanking me up on my hair, and they were lifting me up towards heaven, right? And the other stages, I felt like I was being pulled down, like go deeper, go deeper, go deeper, go to the deeper I of who I was, right? And so I've been resting and retreating. A lot of spiritual maturity has been gained. And people say, what's spiritual maturity? To me, that's wisdom. Wisdom was gained from the lessons that I learned, from the things I did. And that opened up energetic pathways, and they're continuing to open wider and wider here. And they are growing like that tree, and they're getting stronger. And here's where I was shown the gifts of consciousness that she gave me, he gave me, right? I call it a she because when you awaken, you will realize you are consciousness. And if you're a female, you'll say it's a she. And if you're a male, you'll say it's a he, or you'll just call it source or divine, right? But this is where I was shown my gifts. I was shown you can heal with the palms of your hands. You can touch another plant, animal, sentient being. You can move energy. You can shift pain, trauma away, right? And you can guide others. She showed me that. This stage, she showed me clairvoyancy, to see through the naked eye, the matrix. The only analogy that I could give you that makes any sense to me, and I've said this so many times, and it'll be written in my book, is that there's a circle. There's a circle, and if you can just imagine for a second that this circle is the universe. It's the universe that you look at when you look at the universe, right? It's a circle, and we're in that circle. We're in that circle. We are that circle. You're welcome. We are that circle, right? We're in that circle. If you ever go to Tibet or you go to any spiritual center and you see them building the mandala, you'll see at the very last row of the circle is sentient beings, us, and we're all naked and we're all holding hands. Because that's all there is love. There's nothing more than that. It's love. It's everything you're seeking through people, places, and things and can't find, and it's only short-lived, right? And then you're off seeking again to find your happiness, to find your joy, to find your love. Only if I get this, then I'll be fine. Or if I do this, I'll be fine. And then when you do those things, it's not fine. You still don't feel whole, right? And because you're running from yourself. It's right here inside. It's all you have to do is feel it. It's there. It's there. I promise you. And here's where I began practicing these gifts. I began using them for plants. I began using them for animals. I began helping people and guiding them through healing, opening up meridians. I educated myself and took training on Reiki and mastered up on energy healing. And now Spirit's given me another gift. Oh, you can move energy. The Bible says move tree. Yeah. I'm not moving the physical tree, but this is the tree. around the tree is an aura. That's the gross essence of the tree, not the form, because the form is an illusion. It's not matter. It's not matter. Matter is 99.99% dead space. Just looks solid to us, right? And so when these energy pathways opened up and I grounded myself like this tree and I got really strong, right? Here's where I began practicing these gifts, because Spirit said to me, the way you get stronger is by sharing these gifts and healing others, and they will heal you and you will heal them. And that's the figure eight. That's the infinity sign. That's the energy flowing back and forth between us sentinel beings. So I'm teaching, I'm guiding, I'm pointing the way, you know. I'm not asking people to change their belief systems. I'm not asking people to stop doing what they're doing and do this. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do anything. I'm just giving you pointers. And one thing I'm going to say for fact is that the call is universal. And everyone will succumb to it in the end. So that's why God gave us free will. You can succumb to God, you can succumb to consciousness, or you can succumb to the lower realm of negativity in the lower mind, or you can raise your vibrations to a higher mind, right? And sit in the kingdom of heaven with consciousness like I am, with the Holy Grail in your hand, negating yourself, looking at others and saying, how can I be of service to you? You're steady, you're stable, you're grounded, and you're feeling oneness inside. And you're experiencing it on a heart level. And it's going to confuse you on the mental level, because consciousness is not a concept. It is that which leads to beyond. That means it leads to more. God is a concept for me that I was taught. A man had a beard and wore a brown robe and was looking down and had blue eyes, and he was going to open up the pearly gates and atone me when I died. That's an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an ideology I was taught, and you're only taught by the people you're reared from at the level of consciousness in which they are. And my parents weren't conscious. Therefore, I believed a man in the sky was going to atone me for my sins until this happened to me, and now I know better, right? I have awakened and been enlightened, and I have risen above thought. I have risen above thought and sit in the kingdom of heaven with God, and I know I'm not thought. I know I'm not the emotions I feel or even the body I house. The body's a vehicle to get me from point A to point B, and the mind is a computer, and we have 10 fingers and 10 toes. We can do profound things with this mind, but we choose to lie in the negative lower realms. Just look at social media for 5 minutes and you'll see it everywhere. Compassion. Yeah. Your heart begins to open up so big, and you have so much compassion, you can't stand it. You love everything. The taste of food. Oh my God, tastes like you've never had food before. Your senses come alive for the first time and you go, oh, that's what that feels like. That's what that tastes like. Shit. You cannot taste the taste of food if you're not present. How many times have you said to people, shoot, you gobbled that up pretty fast. Did you even taste it? No. They're on autoplay and they're running their gotta do list, and they're eating on the run. And here my heart has just opened up so big with such compassion for myself and for others and for the collective. Everyone's doing the best they can. And here I'm safe. I'm home. I'm home to myself. I've come home to myself and I'm safe in my home. And so I can't be disturbed, right? I can't be altered or shifted in my perception because consciousness has shown me the truth by bringing the veil down, and you cannot unsee what you've seen. And so you have one option: move forward or stay recluse and die that way, bucking God and being stubborn. That's your free will. And so I can understand if someone gets in the dark night of the soul or even the void, because I've done it myself, where you just want to fucking bolt. And that's okay. And this is, not everybody will be a teacher. Not everybody will teach, right? Not everybody will do the things I'm doing. I do the things I do because I have the knowledge I have. I think I have 40 years of medical training behind me as a respiratory therapist and a nurse on a trauma bay. I learned some shit, right? And there's a purpose for that, because I know how the human body functions and I know how it produces chemicals. I know it's a chemical factory, and I know the human person, 99.98% of the people are running on fight flight mode, which is like a freight train going down a railroad track at 90 miles an hour and you're trying to stop it on a dime. It ain't gonna happen. And it won't be until you become enlightened and that switch gets turned on, right? And that illusion of self falls away, and you know you are not your thoughts, your body, or even your emotions, and that you are sitting in the kingdom of heaven with God, holding the Holy Grail. I think you go into stage 6 at this point. I think you go into stage 6 saying, what's my purpose? What do you want me to do? This stage is, I think, where I'm at between 5 and 6, right? On this journey, I assist others and I point the way and I offer healing and my gifts that were so graciously bestowed upon me. I'm honored. Truly, I am. And the love that I share, I don't think the blueprint is completely clear to me yet. I think I've completely surrendered and I'm completely willing to go wherever Creator wants to take me on this journey. And it's for the greater good of myself, Creator, and others. And so I am trying here to recall and remember who I was, like when I was a child. You can't enter the kingdom of heaven without a childlike heart. The Bible says that. Enter the kingdom of heaven like a childlike heart. So at this stage, I think she's asking me to, who's that child? Play a little, get to know her, love her, honor her, because she's been through pain and sorrow and trauma and samsara, and she's here now, and you're aware and awakened. So I'm completely willing to go wherever Creator takes me. This can happen anywhere from, I'm going to say probably 3 months to 3 years before you get it figured out. I believe that the life's mission has been shown to me on some level, and I'm manifesting, and I'm trying to figure it out as it unfolds within me, right? And I honestly think that Spirit Creator is guiding me, and my heart chakra is open so wide, and nothing but love, peace, and joy emanates from me, and it's felt for all mankind. And I'm detached from the mind, and I've gained wisdom, and I share and I guide as much as I can. And I'll give tips, These tips worked for me. They might not work for you. They might, help. They may not, but certainly worth a try, right? The mind's going to kick up shit and try and trip you up. And the key is to surrender and not engage. And how I do that is I say, I am strong, I am brave, and I am love. So if anger comes up, let's say, right? And I'm experiencing this, so it's emotional for me, so I may tear up. And it comes up, I say, I'm strong, I'm brave, and I'm love, right? And I make up mantras, and I have music and meditation that help me. And I stay grounded, and I dance freely to move the energies. And I provide Reiki to myself, right? So the key, I think, is surrender, meditation, music, engaging yourself in positive thought and love and soothing measures. Take a warm bath, use a bath bomb, light some candles, play some music, lay on the beach, watch a sunset, right? The pain body may experience residual in fear and anxiety and anger and a gamut of other emotions. And they may come up, and that's the ego trying to renew itself on one side, and the other side is its residual coming up that's been fragmented and stored as those fractals that I spoke about. The first trauma we experience and dark night of the soul, a death and rebirth, is going through the birth canal and being born, right? Because we're in our mother's womb, and we're comfortable, and we're happy, and we're loved, and we're nurtured, and we're safe, and all our needs are being met. And all of a sudden the water breaks, and boom, oxytocin's released, and prolactin's released, and all kinds of other things in this traumatic event of contractions, and this baby being squeezed down a birth canal experiences trauma and death. It's leaving a home it used to be in. It's leaving a place that it was comfortable and nurtured and loved and seen and felt and heard, to a place of an unknown. And so I use that as an analogy. They experienced a rebirth, a death and a rebirth, a death of the old and a rebirth of the new person they were going to become as they were birthed. So it's no different here. The death of me is gone, and the rebirth of me has come. I sit with my feelings if they come up, and I ask my body, why do I have that emotion? Why is it coming up? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? If it doesn't, leave me alone. If it is persistent, right, then I address it on a higher self, and I ask for guidance. And you can do that too, because spirit cannot intervene without your permission. You have to remember, triggers are coming up to be a situation to be dealt with that can be cleared and transmuted and transcended off of you. And every trigger that brings up an emotion, that trigger is happening to bring up that emotion to show you you have an unresolved issue. Pay attention. Enlightenment, again, is going above thought, knowing you're not your thought, your mind, or your body, that this is a vehicle. And my vehicle right now is teaching, giving, sharing what's so graciously given to me for free. And it's opened and available to all. The call is universal. So here's why my heart is opening wider and wider and wider, because my life mission is to show others the way, and that they maybe don't have to go through the things I went through, the suffering, the samsara, the trauma, the younger generations that are beating themselves up. And I mean, have you Googled suicide rate lately? A person between the ages of 18 and 29 die every single day from suicide when they should be enjoying life at that age. So if I can help one person, I know from my trauma, I have a lot of history and background with narcissism and abuse, and I can assist people with that. I can also know and how to treat PTSD. Why? Because I had PTSD myself, and PTSD is not easy to, not an easy thing to overcome, but transcendental meditation removes it. It's like magic, right? And so not only am I a nurse that's gone through abuse, that suffered PTSD, that has medical knowledge and background, I'm awakened. And now I'm a teacher of Christ. I'm walking the path, and I'm showing others the way. And I might not get it all right, and that's okay. I'm meant to make a mistake, because that's how I gain wisdom. I'm meant to mirror off another sentinel being for a lesson I need to learn about myself. We mirror each other, and we have mirror neurons in our body, right? And we store and fragment emotions. Thinking, and I said before, the present moment, and I'm going to keep saying it again, holds the key for salvation and liberation. You cannot find, you cannot find the present moment in the thinking mind. You have to calm and quiet the thinking mind. Thinking, and remember, and consciousness, they're not synonymous. It's only a small aspect of consciousness, and thought cannot exist without consciousness, but consciousness does not need thought. That's a profound statement, I'm telling you. If you're enlightened and you can rise above thought, that's why consciousness does not need thought. So here's where my heart is opening up to you and to other sentinel beings that are on the planet. Know that I'm here to share my wisdom that I've learned, and I have oodles and oodles and oodles of questions. I can't even read the damn papers that people send me because they won't print, so I can't read them. So I use them for their notes, and I go look it up. And so I have lots of questions that people are asking, and please keep them coming. You can ask me, anything you want, and if I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it, and what maybe you and I can find out together. We don't do this alone, you guys. You do not do this alone. You and I in consciousness, we all do it together. And when one person goes in front of you on the path to enlightenment, I think it says something in the Bible like, if you walk in another man's footsteps, it's not your own. I'm not religious, so these things that are coming to me are downloads that are coming to me. I've never read the Bible. I've done the Course in Miracles, and it takes a whole year to do it. A whole year. Can you believe that? And it's a really good program. So if you don't know it, you can look it up, the Course of Miracles. You can look up The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. You can look up Gabrielle Bernstein. You can look up Michael Sanger, Deepak Chopra. You have to remember that your mind is the seed for the body. And whatever you're feeding the mind, thought goes. Whatever you're thinking of, the energy flows. So nothing will ever change here if you have the same thought pattern and the same behaviors. Everything will stay the same. Because the seed, the mind, is the seed for the body. And if you're seeding it shit, thought creates emotions in the body, right? And emotions in the body have to be acted out in the physical form. That's the law of the universe. And so you're manifesting that. And that's samsara. Don't do that. Question. Be the witness. Look at yourself. Take a step back. Put your hand on your heart. Cross your hands. Put your thumbs together. And know that you are the light of the world, and ask consciousness to assist you. And then question, investigate everything. Is it true? Maybe I know some of the things I learned held water. Some of the ideologies held water, but they're not true. They're not true. They're pseudo. And look around. The universe is going through a mass awakening of its own from the top down. And it is deconstructing everything that doesn't serve it. Power, money, and greed has run this universe. Not love, not joy, not oneness, not peace. Don't you think that it's time we start living unity, oneness, consciousness, and build, and they will come. Build, and they will come, right? If you've gone through a trauma and you've had an awakening, come and join the family. Find your tribe. Don't be afraid, because wherever one or more are gathered, their consciousness is in the midst. And you're here, you're listening. People will listen to the replay. And I don't have it all put together, and I don't have scripted notes and lights and camera and a person recording me. I'm coming right out of my heart to you onto the screen. And if you look at these notes over here, these notes are, notes that I've taken from emails about questions that people are asking me about thoughts and thinking, and they're asking me about triggers and emotions. And so I go look it up, and I'm a visual learner, so I fucking have to write everything down, everything. And if I don't write it down, I type it. No, Siri, thank you. See, this one's on the human form, being the essence of yourself. Well, I don't, these questions that I'm getting are so beautiful. And oh, I should just do a whole video on just the questions I get. So I'm going to clear the energy one time with the bell. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing the content with me. Please, you guys, share the video on any social media you choose, from TikTok to, what are the others? I don't know what the others are. But anywhere you can, because there are oodles and oodles of people that are experiencing awakening, and they don't know where to turn. I love you guys so much. So much. Namaste. I love you too, Pat. Deep breath. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I think my cat's wanting in the back. I can hear him jumping on my screen. I love you guys so, so much. Thank you for coming in and sharing the content with me. I really appreciate it. Namaste.